Welcome to the Success Pick and Mix podcast. I'm your host, Nicky Raby, a professional pick and mixer. I'm a personal brand coach, a speaker, an actor, a creator, and a podcaster. I'm on a mission to help you find and create your version of success. Your pick and mix of life and business on your terms. A blend that complements your personality, your goals, and your circumstances. Since 2018, I've been sharing interviews and mini episodes to help you unlock your next step, to make it real and make it happen. Round here, we dream big. We go for the ideal version. We talk about money and make moves our future selves would be proud of. This podcast is free and available for you whenever you need it. So do rate, review, and subscribe for new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices and availability, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests. Now, on to today's episode. In today's episode, I'm talking to Christina Pickworth, founder of This Mama Does. She's a mum to a 4-year-old little man and 2-year-old little miss, and lives in South London with her husband. She runs This Mother Does, as well as being an agent representing writers and directors in the film and TV industry. And she works part-time for an online marketplace all by mama. She's surviving this motherhood on too little sleep, me too, too much coffee, and definitely too much gin. I hope you enjoyed the episode today. I really enjoyed chatting to Christina. As always, come over to my Instagram page, instagram.com/Nicky Raby, and join in the conversation. It's always a good one. Equally, you can find all the show notes at nickyraby.com/podcast and how you can work with me one-on-one under my coaching page. Hope you enjoy the episode. Hi, Christina.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. The kids are in bed. We are sitting here on a Monday night, dear listeners, and having a chat. So firstly, I would just love to know what you do. Well, all the things that you do, first and foremost.
Well, I have many jobs. I think is the easy way of putting it. So I am an agent in film and TV for writers and directors. I'm also a screenwriter. And then I have my own business called This Mama Does, where I sell some stuff. I make parenting milestone cards and greetings cards and now T-shirts, which are new, which is very exciting. And then I also, madly, do some part-time work for a wonderful online marketplace called All by Mama, where all the sellers on there are all parents.
Oh, amazing. And you've got 2 kids?
And I have 2 kids. Mother of two. They're 4 and 2.
So how did you start? How did it work creatively in terms of becoming an agent?
Becoming an agent was a bit of an accident, to be honest. I worked in film for a long time, and I founded a writers group for women in film and television to support women in film and television who wanted to write, because there's not enough women writers. I don't know, lots of those writers just were asking me to represent them as an agent, and I kept saying no, that's not what I do, and it got to a tipping point where I thought, actually, why not? Why don't I give that a go? So I did, and well, I was going to say, have never looked back. There are good days and bad days.
I've got a slight crick in my neck from looking back. Yeah, well, and how did you then move into doing the other things and having those strings to your bow?
Well, the screenwriting came before the agenting, actually. As with screenwriting, it takes forever for anything to happen.
Yeah.
So that came first, then the agenting, And then this mum and us. So I'd had both my kids by this point, and I was finding it pretty hard, I'll be honest. They don't really sleep. I found it difficult being at home on my own all the time. And they're, when they're little, their conversation isn't necessarily very scintillating.
Yeah.
So I was struggling with that. And then we were training our son while also coming down with chickenpox. And meanwhile, our daughter was only 5 months and not sleeping. And as I kind of scraped the third lot of poo off the floor for that afternoon, and then kind of slumped back on the sofa, looked at the clock and was like, oh, can I have a glass of wine yet? That was the first 2 cards. And, kind of that whole send gin. Quickly. And it just kind of made me laugh. And there's always been baby milestone cards, or not always, but in the last few years. But I didn't really identify with that so much. I hadn't really taken that many photos of my children. Gosh, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? But I hadn't had any baby milestone cards. And I don't know whether I would have used them. Maybe if we had another one, maybe I'd use them. I don't know. But I wanted to say something that was about me and not about the baby. As wonderful as they are. They are wonderful, my babies. But you don't just become invisible when you become a mother. And I wanted something that was real and honest and kind of pushed back against the perfection so often portrayed on social media.
I couldn't agree more.
And that was the idea. That was the idea for the cards. And then it all kind of went from there, really.
I think that's so important, because I think certainly I remember those kind of the checks and the groups and all the rest of it. It was all about the baby, and actually the baby is kind of, sort of goes with the flow and is definitely going to be happier if the mum is happier. And I think with sleep deprivation and anxiety and figuring out those early days, the first thing to go out the window is your humour, because basically you're just trying to compete who's had the most sleep and what's going on and who did the last feed, and it's just quite kind of grueling. And how was it once you started to, because your blog I love reading because I find it really refreshing and honest. How liberating was that for you when you started to share much more on social media and other people were like, yep, I felt like that too?
Really liberating. I've always been one of those people that kind of doesn't pack any punches and is pretty honest, and you either like that or you don't. Certainly not for everyone, I'm sure, but there was just things that I felt weren't being said, and things that I wanted to say. And there is always that nervousness of, are people just going to think I'm a terrible mother because I'm finding this difficult? And actually, I think that's exactly why it's important to say if you're finding something difficult, because you'll actually find that there are a lot of other people who feel exactly the same as you and perhaps haven't felt able to share that for fear of being judged or being made to feel bad. And at the end of the day, we all really, really love our kids and are doing everything for our kids, but it doesn't mean that every minute of every day is, joyous. Because it really isn't. And some bits are harder than others. I remember baby-led weaning. Oh, Lord. Literally, you just spend the whole day on your knees.
Yeah, wiping.
Just wiping up and bits of half-chewed cucumber, which are just in a soggy mess. And That is not fun.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
And I very quickly had to look at those baby-led weaning books and see the hedgehogs or whatever that people had made out of carrot sticks in hummus. And I was like, do you know what? Like, if I can get some kind of vegetables, I mean, fortunately he was a great eater, but I was like, if I could just get some veg in, that would be great. It doesn't need to look effortlessly pleasing on the plate. Let's not go for Mother of the Year here.
Yeah, well, I mean, mine have always been very, very suspicious of anything green. I mean, we gave up on green pretty early, unless it's really buried deep in, like, a spag bowl or something.
Ketchup.
There is just, there's no way. There's just no way. They will tip the whole lot away. So I think you have to pick your battles.
Totally.
And just give them loads of bananas. And be satisfied with that.
Absolutely. And how did you, so in terms of it starting with This Mama Does, in terms of starting it as a personal thing, how did you then grow it as a business, and how did you grow the brand, as it were?
Little by little, really. I started with the first the first range of milestone cards, which was the baby range for new mums. And I don't know, I suppose I hoped that there was a market for it, but you never quite know. And then I don't know, pregnancy obviously is an obvious one. There are pregnancy milestone cards around, and there were some sort of other motherhood milestone cards around. And also my kids were getting a bit older, and that made sense. And then something for the dads who often get forgotten. So I did a daddy range, and then the holiday range, which has been really fun.
Yes.
Because let's face it, holidays with kids are not what they used to be without.
We were in Centre Parks last week, and I really feel like it's going to take me another fortnight to recover, because it's just so getting children changed after swimming twice a day. It's God. Oh my God, it's just, and you want to sort of say, oh, love, just get yourself dressed, come on. And you know that they can't, and it's awful. But yeah, being in a hot, claustrophobic environment is not good for anybody's patience.
No. And that whole pressure of organised fun. And also just, people get cranky when they're hot.
Yes.
And if even whether, you're just in the UK and it's a hot day, people get cranky. If you've managed to go away somewhere, everyone's tired, maybe the food's not what they're used to and you can't get them to eat anything. It's just a bit stressful. Plus, I always have the terribly unrealistic notion that because I'm on holiday, that means I get to read 5 books. I'm still clinging on to that. I now just don't speak to my husband in the evenings.
Yeah, exactly.
Sit with a book.
I stupidly packed 3 books before I went to Centre Parks, and then I had to actually take them out of the case, and I didn't even finish one, for goodness sake, but I just kind of forgot my current life circumstances for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's not the same. That's why there is a "this is not relaxing" card.
Yeah,
because we all need those on holiday with our kids.
And you're trying to have the best time ever. But so how did you launch on the high street, and how did you start to really sell to a wider audience in terms of how did that process work for you?
It's all a bit serendipitous, actually. I had an email through from them, I think probably just because I've been a not on the high street customer for years, and it just came through and said that they were having one of their pitch up sessions where people with small businesses could go along and pitch to them directly. And I'd applied online by this point and been rejected. So I thought, well, I'll go and do the pitch up thing instead, see if that's any better. Because they'd given me a little bit of feedback. I think it was when I'd only got the baby range and they said, oh, you need more than one product and then, come back to us. And I got the second to last pitch slot, or the last pitch slot, and it felt a bit kind of like, oh, lucky, let's just see. And I went, and they kind of signed me up within about 3 minutes.
Yes,
which was a bit amazing, especially as my husband was completely unconvinced that they were gonna take.
It's always nice when you've got a team player in the background. Like,
yeah, that was lovely.
Not really
that was
sure.
lovely, full of support. But yeah, no, that was a bit mad, really. And then that really boosted my confidence, I think, to have someone like that go, oh yeah, this is a good idea, we like what you're doing. That was great. That was really great for me. It was a good moment.
And where do you think it's going? Do you have like big plans for the business of how you're going to move it forward?
Not really, is the honest answer. I should probably say that I have this massive strategy.
I'm going to sell it in like 2019.
Maybe I should have more of a plan, but I'm quite busy.
Yes.
And I tend to just go from one thing to the next thing. And that's probably not the best way to run a business, but that's the only way I have right now. So that's what I'm doing. I mean, the t-shirts have been a fun new thing, and I also do a few kind of greetings cards, and I'm now designing a few of those for Scribbler, which has been another kind of surprising twist in a tale, but lots of fun. It's sort of the dream, really, to be working with Scribbler. So I don't know, really. Who knows what will be next? Who knows? I mean, I'd like to do some more t-shirts, I think, probably, because that's fun and something different. But I was terrified to launch t-shirts.
Yeah, we were just talking before we started recording that like pressing publish or setting something live, it just makes you like doubt everything, even if you know that it's really good what it is you've produced.
Well, I think as well something like this with the t-shirts. I mean, I'm not fashionable or cool in any way. I'm a size 16. Plugging an item of clothing, me doing it is perhaps not a natural choice. But then I'm a mum, and my market is other mums.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, well, do you know what? It'd be fine. It'd be fine. And so far, so good. It has been all right. But that was certainly one of the fears, that I don't fit the fashion molds. But then maybe that's why it works, because I absolutely don't. And I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. And I think that's important in business. You have to be true to yourself.
Yes.
And just be real, really, I think.
Yeah, I think it's really important as well, especially when there's so much noise online, that actually when I see people who are being themselves or sharing stories that are personal, I always breathe a sigh of relief, like, yes, finally, nobody else is just living in a perfect marble box where everything just looks Pinterestable. I don't know if that's a word, but when it's just like, where's your stuff, or what's happening in your house? Because our house doesn't look like that.
Oh, the house photographs. I just wish I had a house like that. Although I don't think I would ever have one of those beautiful houses, because we have so much stuff.
Yes, yeah, we do as well. And even though I'm trying to declutter, it's probably not happening anytime soon. So how do you, I guess, balance the creativity side with making money, and how do you I'm not going to talk about the juggle, because I feel like sometimes it's such a loaded question with women, but just in terms of, like I do as well, of like having lots of different sides to your brand or your business, how do you make that work logistically?
I feel like I'm just starting to get a bit better at this, because it is really hard, and I think it's really easy to get waylaid by emails or people asking you for stuff that might be really important to them, but might not actually be that important to you. And I think that's really important, to find your way of prioritising what you actually need to do, rather than getting caught in the trap of just putting out fires.
Yes.
And I think that makes a real difference, to kind of sit down and go, do you know what, that can wait.
Yeah.
That really isn't important, and that can wait, and I'll do that at another moment. But what is important is what I wanted to do today, which is X, Y, Z, and I'm going to get that done. And I do feel like I've been a bit more focused this year, hopefully. I'm not sure if it's making any difference, but I feel a bit less chaotic.
And how do you track your success? How do you know that you're doing the things that you want to do? Or is it a case of how you feel? Or are there ways that you can kind of go, yeah, I'm having a really good time of it at the moment?
I think it kind of depends on what you call success. And I think understanding what you want to get out of something that you're doing is what's important. Although actually you can be really surprised. So you can spend a lot of time trying to do something which then ends up feeling like a bit of a flop because it hasn't got the results that you wanted, or it didn't go in the direction that you wanted. And I think you just have to roll with those punches.
Yes.
And I don't know, just keep doing what you're doing and hope for the best and make those mistakes and then just try and choose differently next time. I'm still a really little brand, so there's a long way to go for me yet. But hopefully hopefully I'm getting there, a little bit at a time.
Yeah, you've achieved so much in such a little time. So, yeah, it's amazing. And especially sometimes when you look online, you can feel like everybody else has figured it out and is so much further ahead. But, you know, as we mentioned before, nobody has got their everything together, you know, all of the time. How important has networking been for you and getting out there and becoming visible?
I think it's really important to, more for the support network than anything, to make friends and feel like you're not on your own so much. I think when you run a business on your own, it's very isolating. And anything that you can do to just not be sat on your own. I mean, it's something that I've always done with writers, because writing is a very lonely business. And, you know, I joke about writers weeping into their keyboards in their little darkened rooms. Which they all do, you know, obviously, all of them.
Yeah.
And it's a bit the same when you're running your own business, because actually you just want to get out there and meet other people that are doing the same as you and trying, and, you know, maybe they know something about wholesaling that you don't know, but maybe you know something about social media that they don't know. And I think that swapping of information and support and help, and just having someone that is in the same boat is really lovely.
And on the whole, I've always found people to be so lovely and, you know, helpful and willing to share what they know and maybe their mistakes that they've made along the way. And I've never found it to be competitive or like, I'm going to hold back this piece of information because I don't want you to have it. I've always found it a really positive environment.
I think that's really true as well. I think, well, I hope most people are like that. I think you have to believe that most people are good and nice.
Yes.
Otherwise, well, you know, it's a very sorry state of affairs, isn't it, really? So, yeah, I think most people are kind of helpful and nice and friendly. And actually, I think it can be really daunting going to some stuff, because you think, oh, you know, well, that person's been doing it for much longer than me, or maybe they've got loads more followers than me, or, you know, the way you try and measure how successful someone is isn't really very helpful, because maybe they're just as clueless as you.
Yeah. I was at an event the other day and somebody was talking about certain people who have a huge amount of followers, and the discussion was opened up, and we were like, but we don't know where those followers came from or who they are. And for all we know, somebody's bought them. It's kind of, sometimes we only know what the information that people present to us. We don't know where the source of that has come from.
Well, I think that's true. I think also, sometimes you catch a wave, you catch a break.
Yeah.
Also, people work really hard.
Yes.
People do work really hard. And I think I think in a lot of cases, or for most cases, people have just worked really hard and then maybe caught the wave. I don't know. I think it gets difficult because I don't think obviously there is a certain amount of success attached to, for example, number of followers, but it isn't just about that. It's about what that means to you. Is that important? Is it helpful? Does it matter? Are they the right people that are following you? Do they actually care? Are they just following you, or are they engaging with you? I think there's more to it than that. And I think it's important not to compare yourself to somebody else, because it's never going to end well.
Yeah.
You can only be you, and that's it.
Especially if you're squeezed for time as well, and you're trying to fit this business in between nap times or play dates or whatever it is, that you want to spend that hour or whatever you have available really working on your business and growing it and being productive, and not spend that time sitting going, oh no, everybody else has got it figured out and I'm just here trying to do it. You want to be economical with your time, I guess. Has there been a book or something that you've read that has really changed the way that you've grown your business or thought about life, I guess?
I wish I could say that there was, but there really hasn't, mainly because I never get to read any books ever anymore. It's all scripts. Yeah, I think I'm probably a bit rubbish at researching stuff or using resources to help me. I probably just plough on through like a bull in a china shop and then realise afterwards where I've made the mistakes, which I wouldn't really recommend. But sadly, I have no recommendations. I need your recommendations.
Well,
send me their recommendations so I can improve at this.
But I think bull in a china shop is a good thing sometimes, and because it means that you actually take action, and that's how you learn what works and all the rest of it. And I know sometimes I have clients that are like, I just need to meditate on this, I need to do another course, or I'm going to do this, and you think, no, you just need to launch it, you need to get cracking and test it and see what's going on with it, really. But yeah, I will add some book recommendations. And I don't know, I've got into audios recently, which have been really useful because it means I actually consume the content rather than looking at the huge pile of books that are next to my bed that I've never quite read yet. But yeah. I've got one final question for you, which is, where would you like to be in 5 years' time?
Well, 5 years' time, my kids will both be at school. So that will be quite a different thing, I think, for me, because hopefully the work-life balance will have improved.
Yes.
The childcare juggle is really real for us. So having 6 hours in a row in the daytime to do some work will be fairly revolutionary.
Yes.
Also, hopefully, well, I tell you what, hopefully I will be sleeping through the night. Wouldn't that be a turn up for the books? In 5 years' time, I would like to be sleeping through the night.
I mean, nobody needs a gold watch or a Gucci handbag. Sleep is everything.
Yeah, sleeping through the night, that is a real goal right now.
Yes. And where would you like your business and your brand to be? Do you do you have any thoughts on it?
I don't know. I suppose I should have this mapped out.
No.
I guess I hope that it will have grown. I hope that people. One of the things that I love is when I get repeat customers.
Yeah.
That's really lovely, and I'm getting more and more of those. And for me, that means everything. That means everything, because it means that they like the brand. It means that they like the product. And I think that's the way that you can really grow. So hopefully lots more repeat customers would be amazing, and just a little bit more spreading of the word and the love.
Amazing. Well, we will spread that love and the word today. If people want to come and find you or purchase some cards, where should they come?
They can come and find me at www.thismamadoes.co.uk, and I'm This Mama Does on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm there and I'm very friendly, so come and say hello.
And we will. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate all the practical things that you said, because I think before we were talking about, before we started recording, is that notion that, these things just effortlessly appear or happen or grow. And actually there's a lot of graft and thought and consideration and juggling and, not eating greens behind the scenes. So, that was a weird little poem, but thank you. Oh my God, I'm going to imagine that I'm a rapper or something now. I'm not, I promise. Thank you, Christina. I will speak to you soon.
Thanks so much for having me. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't already, feel free to rate, review and subscribe for all the brand new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices, availability or just to have a chat with me, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests, and I'll see you next time.